I'm standing right next to the Ram Revolution. This is the clearest indication yet of what we're going to see from Ram later this year in a production electric and plug-in hybrid truck. And that plug-in hybrid thing is really interesting because Ram has said they're going to make two different body-on-frame electrified vehicles, a full electric Ram Revolution and a plug-in hybrid, and some version or another should go about 500 miles on a charge. Whether that's the full battery electric one or whether that's the plug-in hybrid, we don't know. But let's take a look at some of the details here. Obviously, this is a very concept vehicle, so we have things that are not headed for production. The headlights might be pretty similar to what we'll see. I would be really interested to see if these little dot-like clearance lights actually happen, as well as the illuminated Ram logo. But the front end definitely looks like the rest of the Ram pickup truck family. Now, moving around to the side, we obviously have wheels and tires that are probably not going to make it into production. These are 24-inch wheels, enormous tires, and of course, these particular ones made by Pirelli for this particular concept car actually have Ram stamped into them as well. We have an illuminated Ram logo down here. That's probably not going to make it to production either, but we also have cameras that are a little unlikely as well, at least until they change legislation in North America. The concept car features some suicide doors in the back. That's kind of an interesting twist. And the cab is only about 6 inches longer or so than the largest Ram 1500 cab. So proportion-wise, this looks pretty spot on for what we're going to see in a production truck. It's going to feature a new generation of Ram boxes in the back. Obviously, this production, or I should say prototype model, does not have anything like that going on there. And as we move on to the rear, we see their latest interpretation of their barn door tailgate design. This is probably going to operate like the 60/40 split one that we see in the current Ram 1500, only this one is split 50/50. I'm really going to be intrigued to see if this lighting design makes it. I could see this happening in production because this would work back there as far as legislation goes on the red accents. They're targeting 10,000 pounds of towing capability, just like pretty much everybody else in the electric half-ton segment. Looking inside those split suicide doors, we find obviously a prototype or concept car interior, not a production interior. So lots of screens going on. Again, those digital camera side view mirrors are unlikely to make it to production due to legislation in the US. But we do see some interesting themes that we might see in a later version of a Ram truck. For instance, the center console design with the split screens, that's something that we've seen from them before. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that made it there. We see a reworked center console with different designs there. And the seating, that's probably not going to happen in real world either, but one really cool touch back here are these jump seats sitting behind the second row. If you've been wondering what that looks like in a 6 or 7 seat Ram Revolution, that's what's going on there. Basically, you would move the front seats forward, you would move the second row seats forward, so you'd have a lot less legroom there, but you would theoretically be able to squeeze someone in the back. Now, whether or not that ends up being legal as far as passenger carrying in the US, we don't know yet, but it really does represent an interesting twist. You can see these rails running right across the floor. The front seats and the second row seats are riding on these rails. That's something that we may or may not see, obviously. You can see the controls on these concept car seats, things like that. And then right there, that portal to another world in the middle, that is actually a frunk pass-through. So you can put really long items, obviously not terribly wide items, but really long items inside, all the way from the frunk, all the way through the cab. If you're interested in the possibility of an electrified Ram pickup truck, you won't have too long to wait. We should be seeing more of a production version later this year. Obviously with some clues from this model baked into a production intent product. That one is going to be the one that's going to feature a plug-in hybrid system or a range extending system. They've been really cagey on exactly what's going to go on under the hood. They've called it a range extender system. I suspect it's probably going to be something along the lines of the new twin-turbo inline-6 with a motor generator unit and probably a battery pack that's maybe half or so what we find in the regular Ram Revolution. This is also indicating a new electrified path for the entire Stellantis portfolio of products. So expect full-size vehicles with frames with batteries on board as well. Think big SUVs. They've already indicated there's going to be an electrified version of the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer at some point, and it's going to be riding on the same technology that we find in this Ram Revolution. That's going to support a big battery pack, the same kind of towing and hauling capability you'd expect in a body-on-frame pickup truck, combined with air suspension systems that we see in their other vehicles for raising and lowering the system for better off-road clearance, better towing capacity, etc., and a native 800-volt architecture with fast DC charging. We don't know any of those specs just yet, so stay tuned because hopefully we'll have some of those a little bit later. See all of you next week.